City of Adelaide Council meeting on Tuesday, 26 August 2025. The Lord Mayor is in the chair. This council meeting will be streamed live and recorded for publishing to the internet. Please note that an audio and visual recording is being taken of this meeting. This means that your presence at and any contribution you make to the meeting may be collected, used, disclosed or published publicly by the Council, including transferring outside Australia.
Council acknowledges that we're meeting on the traditional country of the Kaurna people of the Adelaide Plains and pays respects to elders past and present. We recognise and respect their cultural heritage, beliefs and relationships with the land, and we acknowledge that they are of continuing importance to the Kaurna people living today. We also extend that respect to other Aboriginal language groups and other First Nations people who may be with us this evening. The Council acknowledges the vision of Colonel William Light in determining the site for Adelaide and the design of the city with its 6 squares and surrounding belt of continuous parklands, which is recognised on the National Heritage List as one of the greatest examples of Australia's planning heritage. We pray for wisdom, courage, empathy and understanding and guidance in the decisions that we make while seeking and respecting the opinions of others. May we in this meeting speak honestly, listen attentively, think clearly and decide wisely for the good governance of the City of Adelaide and the well-being of those we serve. I now ask all those present to stand in silence in memory of those who gave their lives in defence of their country, at sea, on land and in the air. Thank you. Please be seated. We have no apologies or leave of absence this evening. Could I ask if someone would move the minutes from the meeting held on the 12th of August, moved by Councillor Davis, seconded by Councillor Abrahimzadeh. All those in favour? Those against? That's carried. Councillor Giles, did you vote? We'll do it again. All those in favour? All those against? Carried unanimously. Thank you, members. I wonder now if there are any declarations of conflict of interest from members. No, none. We'll move on. Deputations. Now, this evening we have several deputations, and as you know, the standing orders allow us to have 3 deputations per meeting, and the ones that I accepted well before the close of requests were Mr Trevor Bishop, who wished to discuss the O'Connell Street traffic behaviours, Mr Daniel Grilly, who wished to support the retaining of bike paths in O'Connell Street, and Mr Mitchell Price, who is going to speak about the e-scooter program in the city. Subsequently, however, I've had 5 requests from other deputies. These requests are largely against the bikeway, and in seeking to be fair to everybody in the gallery, I would seek the support of the meeting just to hear one of those members who are opposed to the bike path, so that at least there's a fairness of representation. All those in favour?
Can I have clarity? Did you say the 5 that were present that didn't get through, all of them
they
were
appear
against?
To all be opposing the bike path.
And the 3 of them, are they in favour or against this?
I will repeat what I said. The first one, only one was related to a bike path. Of the 3, one was about the traffic behaviours requested by Councillor Kouros. One was about e-scooter programs, and the third was, I think, from a cycling perspective and discussing retaining the bike lanes. I am suggesting that we have one person opposed to bike lanes in order to have some balance in the debate,
So
without having all 5 of the...
So the other 5 are all here present today, tonight?
I don't know. I would suggest that maybe it's Mr. Tony Roberts, James Kent, Anthony Greven has already spoken already, Mr. Albert Brooks and Joanne Barry Murphy. I think that Albert Brooks might be, if he's in the gallery.
Well, I think, Lord Mayor, that all should be able to speak.
Well, I'm going to ask the members of the council if they'd be happy if only one spoke.
Well, I
otherwise
think if people have made an effort...
This is not for debate, I'm just asking.
I'm sorry,
No, it is for debate.
So,
motion...
Deputy Lord Mayor? I move that one of those parties be heard. Is that seconded?
Can I amend it, Lord Mayor?
Councillor Giles?
Can I amend the motion?
I'm sorry?
Can I amend the motion?
I think I'm seeking leave of the meeting. I don't think one normally has an amendment. You should vote against it and then we can...
No, you're not seeking leave. You've got a mover, you've got a seconder. She's allowed to move an amendment.
I beg your pardon? Excuse me, I'm just I think we have a resolution to hear 1, and if that's lost, we can have the resolution to hear 5.
Okay, I'll speak to it.
Thank you. And that's seconded by Councillor Giles.
I'm happy to speak to it.
Lord Mayor, I don't
think this
he
is
moved
just leave be granted. We don't need to have a large debate, I would have thought.
But if
That's all right. I'm happy to quickly I'm happy to quickly make a statement.
The Deputy Lord Mayor will just speak first. I think he's trying to make it as easy as possible.
Well, Lord Mayor, I am. It doesn't require a speech. A simple vote will determine whether it's a reasonable enough proposition. If it's not, then the councillor may speak.
Davis.
I'm continually disappointed by this council refusing to listen to its ratepayers, refusing to listen to people who come and give deputations. We happened at the last council meeting as well, shut down deputations, and again we're going to shut down another 5 deputations and hear only one of them. I think this is what this council does, doesn't it? It ignores its ratepayers. It tries to shut me down, shut ratepayers down.
Lord Mayor, look, a point of order, please.
I think that...
There is a requirement for
courtesy. Would you like to sit down, Councillor Davis, while I hear the point of order?
Look, there is a requirement on the part of all councillors to deal with other in a collaborative, cooperative way and with courtesy. That is one of our standard behaviours. It's not an unreasonable thing, and we certainly don't want...
Time.
Councillor, can you sit down? You do not have the call.
He's just wasting time.
You do not have the call. Sit down, please. Deputy Lord Mayor.
And, Lord Mayor, I simply ask that instead of this invective, the points that he wishes to make be made in a civil, courteous manner, not by denigrating individuals and the council as a whole.
I think the council is drawing our notice to the fact that you're being disorderly. Please, can you keep to the issue?
I'm not being disorderly.
And as a matter of fact, Councillor, could I just point out that deputations were allowed at the last council meeting, so it's not an accurate representation.
I mean at the workshop, where the Deputy Lord Mayor refused to hear members of our community who wish to speak on an issue. It was a committee meeting, and there's an agenda item in the committee meeting that says deputations, and we went through an entire process where we voted against them speaking at that council meeting. It was a committee meeting. It was at a committee meeting, and there's an entire section called deputations. Look, it's so disappointing this council has no regard for its ratepayers whatsoever. It takes every opportunity to shut them down, takes every opportunity to interject into other people's members, to members speaking. And if you want to give a deputation, I'd love to hear you, because that's what we're here to do, is listen to you, not shut people down continuously. And I think you really should be ashamed of yourself if you support this. If this gets voted down, I'll be moving an alternative motion to have people heard, which would include you as well, and so that we can actually listen to our community, not run some kind of North Korean state.
Thank you. Should the motion be put? I think there's been a procedural motion. The motion be put. All those in favour? 1, 2, 3, 4. Against? That's carried. Thank you. When we have dealt with the first 3 representations, I would ask Mr. Albert Brooks to come forward, because that's the North Adelaide Society as well. So can I invite Mr. Trevor Bishop firstly? Thank you. Now, Mr Bishop, we'd be happy if you could come through the gate, come to the dais. We give you 5 minutes to speak to the council. Thank you very much.
Firstly, thank you very much. I'm not Mr Bishop, I'm Mr Brooks. Mr Bishop is up the back. We've had a change of order today, so if that's okay with you. Firstly, I'd just like to say thank you for the opportunity. Sorry? David Brooks, B-R-O-O-K-S. Not a problem.
Thank you, Mr Brooks. We'll start your 5 minutes again.
Not a problem. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Firstly, thank you very much for the opportunity. I know you've got a busy agenda tonight, and I know time is of the essence, so I'll be fairly quick and fairly succinct. My aim tonight is to leave you guys an understanding that the issues that we face are real, they're actually happening, and they're escalating. It's having an adverse effect on people that live where we live, and I'll cover that in a minute. It's having an effect on their health, and it's also a safety issue. To put it in context, I'm the presiding officer of a place called Place on Brome, which is an apartment block on the corner of O'Connell and Brome Place. I bought that place about 17 years ago, and for the first 17 years, not a problem. In the last 18 months, and particularly this year, 6 or 7 months this year, the issues have become almost unbearable. We put a submission into the council when they called for submissions maybe 3 months ago, and that was a fairly comprehensive submission, and it's in your paper, so I'm assuming everyone's read it, and I hope they've read it. But the issues that are detailed on there are real, they're not imagined, and they're not contrived. I mentioned escalating, and what worries me, if it escalates, it becomes entrenched, and once it's entrenched, it becomes harder to stop. I also think there has been a little bit of improvement, but I think that's because of the climate, because of the time of the year. Early in the year, through summer and autumn, that was really bad. It's quietened a little bit during winter, but the issues are still Thursday, Friday and Saturday nights. Early in the week it's quieter, but our concern is when summer returns, it's going to happen again. Looking at what we can ask the council to do, or look to solve the problem, I think there's only two ways. There's prevention and then there's policing. And I think if we look at the council, one of the things we've asked for is cameras to police it, to help police it. And I know that's under consideration. I just hope that could be pushed along a bit further. Also, parking inspectors. There are a lot of people that hoon don't give a rat's about where they park. So they'll park in no parking zones, cross bike lanes, all that sort of stuff. And I just think if there was enough policing of that sort of stuff at night, it might help. And the other one is obviously policing itself. We're in discussion with the SAPOL. We've had 2 or 3 meetings with SAPOL, and we're meeting again next Friday to see what can happen there. Once again, just I'll give a bit of an example. Last Saturday night and Sunday night, the noise from the vehicles that bad, it set car alarms off in the street. So if you can imagine how much noise it had to make those car alarms go off, that's what we live with. And I mentioned people's health. If you can imagine getting woken up 2 or 3 times a night, it's not good for your health. One of the ladies that was going to come tonight, she has really been affected by this, and it's really affected her health badly. Just as an anecdote, this weekend, we've got someone coming to the building who's going to look to fit earplugs fitted personally for each person. Now, can you imagine having to live in your house and have to have earplugs put in so you could actually live there? And I think if that happened to you, you'd be jumping up and down too. So I guess that's all I wanted to say, is just to make it understood that it's real, it's not perceived, and it's actually happening. Anecdotally, we had a fellow bought into our apartment block about 6 months ago. He paid around $1.5 million for it. He's a businessman in the city, and he can't stay there because he can't sleep, and he can't focus, and he can't function. So he's looking to sell. So after 6 months, he's looking to move out. So I think that sort of indicates, or gives some kind of indication as to the seriousness of what I'm talking about and what the thing are contained in our submission. So all I can say is we're looking for help, and we hope that you'll give it due consideration and do whatever you can do. So more than that, I've got no more to say. If you've got any questions, I'm happy to answer them. But if not, I'll leave it there. And thank you for your time.
Thank you. I'm most grateful for your representation. If there are no questions, thank you very much
Thank you.
indeed. I wonder if we could ask Mr. Mitchell Price, who wants to speak about the e-scooter program. Please come through the gate. Whoops, I'm not sure how it opens from that side. Thank you. If you'd like to come up to the lectern, thank you. And again, 5 minutes, please.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. Good evening, councillors, and thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. I'm Mitchell Price. I'm the Head of Government Relations for a company, Ario, who's been operating in Australia and New Zealand and globally in the e-scooter space. But tonight I speak to you as an Adelaide local. Adelaide has always prided itself on being Australia's festival state. We gather for Fringe, WOMAD, the Rise Festival, Gather Round, and the list goes on. We bring the world to Adelaide and we show that we can punch above our weight. But there's a problem in how we move across our city. Right now, Adelaide is being treated as a dumping ground for e-scooters being left across footpaths, tripped over curves, cluttering spaces meant for pedestrians. They are unsafe and the technology is outdated. Adelaide has had the longest e-scooter trial program in history, not only just in Australia, but arguably anywhere in the world. This trial is now hopefully coming to an end with the introduction of new legislation and regulation at the state, and the chance to decide what the future of Adelaide looks like and time to get it right. We don't have to settle for old, tired models. Technology exists today for footpath and pedestrian detection, which can automatically slow scooters down when ridden too fast or where they shouldn't be. Ario has already implemented and mandated helmets on every device, so every rider has access to safety equipment and the smartest systems to prevent clutter, improve parking so that they're not thrown all over our footpaths. One of the game changers is that we've introduced the smart sensor helmet. It's literally a helmet that can identify whether you are wearing it or not. If you don't, the scooter won't work. No hat, no play. Think about that for a minute. This all begs the question, why should Adelaide keep waiting for something that exists when the community want it now? Micromobility is not just for tourists or festival goers, it's for locals like me who use these services every day to get to work, universities, shops or events, with over 3.5 million trips taken in Adelaide since January of 2020. A mandated helmet on every device is a simple step to protect our community, reduce injuries and ensure e-scooters and e-bikes remain a trusted way to move around our city. And then think about our festivals. Fringe, WOMAD, Gather Round, the Riders Festival, Live Golf, everything, the list goes on. These moments when our streets come alive with visitors, families and pedestrians, the last thing our city needs in these peak times is unsafe, outdated e-scooters and e-bikes creating hazards on our footpaths. We need controlled access. We need smart parking and technology that puts safety first for riders and for pedestrians. So I'm asking Council tonight, as you prepare for the next stage of e-scooters in Adelaide, to ensure that any operator that has the right and the opportunity to operate in our city puts the safest, most innovative technology available now. Not in 6 months, not in the future, not tomorrow, but today. That means across the entire fleet from day one. Make safety, clutter prevention and pedestrian priority the baseline, not optional extras, and make helmets on every device a mandatory standard. So in closing, I leave you with these questions to consider. Do we want Adelaide to continue to be the dumping ground for outdated e-scooters? Or do we want a system that sets the standard for safety and innovation in Australia? As a local, increasingly relying on micromobility, will we make sure helmets are a mandatory standard, or will we compromise on safety? As a festival state, do we want to lead, or are we prepared to settle for less? The choice is ours, the decision is yours. Let's make sure Adelaide chooses safety and leadership. I'm happy to take any questions, Lord Mayor.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. Now can we move on to presentations about O'Connell Street, the Main Street Revitalisation Programme. Mr. Daniel Grilly. Thank you. If you come to the lectern, again, 5 minutes, please.
Good evening, councillors, Lord Mayor. My name is Daniel and I speak to you tonight as someone who grew up visiting O'Connell Street quite a lot all the time growing up, but I don't visit very much anymore for reasons that I'll get to later. Tonight, I would like to urge Council to not accept the recommendation to remove the bike lanes from the O'Connell Street project. There are two things that I'd like to make clear. One is to remind you that having the bike lanes there is what the community wants, and two, that the bike lanes are vitally important for the revitalisation of O'Connell Street that the project's trying to achieve. So firstly, the wider community wants these bike lanes. The idea of having a separated bikeway on O'Connell Street was clearly articulated in the city plan, a visionary document that everyone I know is excited about. The plan was put to a very wide consultation and the people said, this is what we want. On the back of community support, the council adopted the plan. But that was not all. The idea of bike lanes on O'Connell Street was consulted again in the council's integrated transport plan, and again the community said, this is what we want. That's not even to mention the multiple stages of consultation that were had with the community on the specific O'Connell Street project. Each time the community was asked about a design with bike lanes, the design received community support and was voted in. I understand that the recent opposition to the bike lanes has come off the back of a survey purely about pavers and other minor details. This survey, I don't believe it was open to the wider community. Bike lanes weren't even on the agenda and therefore it should not have been used as a basis to remove the bike lanes from the project. Because remember, every time the community was asked about bike lanes on O'Connell Street, we said we wanted them. Now, the second point I'd like to make is that the inclusion of these bike lanes are actually critical for the success of O'Connell Street as a revitalisation, of the project as a revitalisation of O'Connell Street. That is, transforming O'Connell Street into a place that's not just great for business, but a place that's safe and pleasant to visit and travel on for all members of our community. The bike lanes themselves will provide an option to travel to and through O'Connell Street that's equitable for everyone. You'll always be able to visit by car, but with the bike lanes there, people who can't or choose not to drive will be able to get around too. That is, those without a licence, the elderly, people with a disability who can't drive but want to get around on their own, or children maybe riding on their own after school to pick up a donut. Imagine that. Remember, this is the O'Connell Street that the community have said time and time again that we want. The other really important thing that the bike lanes will do is to reduce the speed and volume of car traffic on O'Connell Street, and in doing so make it a more pleasant place to be. Outside of peak hour, as you know, the introduction of parking reduces car traffic to one lane. The traffic is slowed down, car volumes are reduced, less noise, less pollution, less hooning. A more pleasant place to be. I said earlier that I don't really go to O'Connell Street anymore. If I think of the streets around Adelaide that I and others I know actually do go to, they all follow this model of slowing down and reducing car traffic to prioritise the experience of being there. I'm thinking of places like Prospect Road, King William Road, Goodger Street, Rundle Street. This is in stark contrast to other main streets about the place that have good bones, but the experience of being there is ruined by having a busy 4-lane road running through them. So Unley Road, McGill Road, Henley Beach Road, Flinders Street, Grote Street, I could keep going. The point is, no one thinks of these roads as nice places to be. O'Connell Street is in this category now, and that's where it will stay if the bike lanes are removed from the project. To conclude, it's often said with transformative projects like this one that it may be a good idea in principle, but we can't do that here because Adelaide just isn't like that. But I would like to remind you, councillors, that what Adelaide is or isn't set in stone, but it's actually shaped by the decisions that people make every day. Some decisions, like the one you have tonight, carry more capacity to change what Adelaide is than others. So the question to ask yourselves is not what is best for Adelaide now, but what is the best decision for the Adelaide we want to be? The community wants this change. We want the visionary O'Connell Street redesign we were consulted on, bike lanes and all. Have courage and make the right decision. Thank you.
Thank you very much. No questions? No. Thank you very much, Mr. Greeley. And now could I ask Mr. Albert Brooks to come forward? 5 minutes, Mr Brooks.
Thank you, Lord Mayor, and thank you, elected members, for your 5 minutes this evening. The O'Connell Street project says the street is a stylish street with an architectural heritage dating back to the 1830s and seeks to enhance while preserving heritage. I speak on behalf of the North Adelaide Society both to join in that acknowledgement and support your laudable objective. The city plan describes the street as a formal avenue of London plane trees and prominent, richly detailed heritage places with residential and commercial buildings. Most importantly, your project describes what makes a great main street, and that includes celebrating the unique local and heritage character, high-quality public realm and amenities, human scale density and a heart, and a vision for special heritage experiences and a village community atmosphere. None of those matters refer to the high-frequency roadway that bifurcates O'Connell Street precinct and provides arterial access between major activity centres. In that context, it is understandable that traffic engineers and road users focus on the roadway that drives their interests rather than what makes a great main street. We submit that the real vision and focus is outside of what lies between the eastern and western water tables. We say that what makes this a great main street is its unique local and heritage character and its community. It is the built form, the land uses, the diverse businesses, the footpaths, and a humanistic and people-centric ambulation environs and activities that are preeminent, not the heat-sink black bitumen roadway. We say the focus ought to be the creative enhancement of the public on-foot realm of this first suburb of the City of Adelaide. In that context, at this juncture, we urge you to leave the roadway uses alone and get on with those aspects that address the strengths and needs of the precinct. That includes safe, usable, controlled intersection crossings, footpaths that continue across minor roads, and footpath lighting that reflects the heritage and character of the street. We invite you to not be distracted by unknowns and avoidable divisiveness. Tram infrastructure is a known unknown. What may be decided in the future is like growing old and anxious while awaiting the bus that never arrives. Our premise to you is to leave the roadway delineation as is. I say that as a cyclist who uses cycling infrastructure and roadways. We are fortunate in North Adelaide. There is a plethora of bike lanes, off-road, wide concrete superways and pathways, and low-traffic local roads which also connect with nearby areas. The city has made a considerable investment in public interest cycling infrastructure, and that is patently obvious from the cycling networks map available from the council. We urge you to leave aside roadway usage, divisive delineation and known unknowns, and instead focus on the strengths, needs and elements for making a great main street. Let me finish by noting that your strategic plan includes being bold. If this council wants a boring concrete aggregate paver footpath outside its own trident of high-rise concrete and glass towers, that is a matter to be laid at your door. There is no point quibbling about that or the faux consultation conducted. That is done and being done. But there remains opportunities to be bold. Footpath infrastructure devoid of artistic or creative interest and without connection with the unique local and heritage character is a gross lost opportunity cost. That ought to be addressed north of Tint Street and south of Archer Street. It would be bold for this council to commission artists to inject pavers, footpaths and lighting with such interest and connection. There is also a gross opportunity cost lost if the council overlooks offering to partner with landowners in conservation works for frontages with unique local or heritage character. Again, that would be a bold initiative and would accord with making a great main street. Thank you for permitting me to address you about getting on with this project in a manner that will enhance the human experience of the public spaces and support the diverse businesses and land uses along the footpaths of O'Connell Street. Can I say, in this day of artificial intelligence, no artificial intelligence was used in the preparation of this. Thank you, Lord Mayor.
Thank you very much, Mr Brooks. It might be helpful to those in the gallery if we brought the whole of item 13 forward. Would that be... I seek leave from
Apologies, Lord Mayor. I think there's a petition on the item
yes,
as well.
I apologise, but after the petition. I think that after the petition I'll seek leave to bring 13 forward because that has e-scooters and O'Connell Street, which might be helpful. So we have one petition which has been received, item 10.1. I don't think we need a motion for that, do we? It's been received, that's all we need to do. Can I seek leave now of the Chamber to bring forward item 13? All those in favour?
There's a recommendation that needs to be put in vote.
I apologise. I have to move a motion for the receipt. All those in favour? We need a mover. Councillor Snape, seconded by Councillor Giles. All those in favour? Sorry, members. All those against? Now I seek leave to move item 13 in its entirety forward. Moved by Councillor Abrahimsday, seconded by Councillor Snape. All those in favour? Those against? That's carried. Thank you. We'll move to item 13. The Deputy Lord Mayor was in the chair for this item. Are you prepared to move either of these?
Yes, Lord Mayor. Given that there's interest in each of those items, may I suggest that they're moved separately?
Separately indeed. Shall we start with recommendation 1, the e-scooters?
Yes, Lord Mayor, and in that case, I'm unable to move that. I will have to move... yes, I do wish to move an alternative motion.
You can move a variation from the beginning.
Well, in that case, I will, Lord Mayor. And in doing so, may I advise the meeting that I have spoken with the administration and requested their assistance if indeed it's necessary. My intention in respect of e-scooters is, rather than simply moving to an expression of interest process, to ask the administration to report on those measures the city would like to see included in e-scooters in regard to both safety, geofencing and other items before moving to an expression of interest process. And I'll be guided by the administration if it wishes to alter those words.
Can I just say, I think Councillor Davis has seconded. Thank you. Lord Mayor, please carry on.
Lord Mayor, may I ask the administration for feedback? It was circulated late to the administration.
Through the presiding member, administration appreciates the alternative direction of the alternate motion. It's a matter I believe we can live with. Yeah, through the presiding member, Mr McCready will propose a minor tweak.
Can you just tell me if you're happy with the wording?
Through you, Lord Mayor, one of the things is it's not a policy document. What we're seeking is to amend the criteria and the conditions associated with a permit, so it's not a policy.
I'm happy to go with that. So if it were to ask the administration to prepare a report, that then would be satisfactory.
Your second is happy? Thank you, Councillor.
Thank you. Lord Mayor, look, the new state legislation, which has, of course, prompted this motion before us, has opened up a can of worms. We are proposing to authorise the administration to take a new step, not just a trial, but a move to what it describes as formalised business operating permits. This is our long-term partner, as the administration notes, possibly for up to 3 years. But we haven't had the opportunity to have advice from the administration about whether, in fact, we have one partner, two partners, three partners, or what that looks like. But more particularly, we haven't heard about the conditions that we might expect those coming forward with the expression of interest processed to tell us about what we should expect. For example, are we happy with the current geofencing capacity of the providers? Is there not something better that's available? And how far does that technology go? Does it perhaps allow us to determine geofencing outside of Rundle Mall, and particularly in, say, for example, main streets where there is the possibility of some safety issue? What I'm suggesting is that if we're going to move forward for the next 3 years, we want to have a fairly good idea of what we expect. And in the committee papers, at paragraph 13, there was mention of how there's no capacity to determine where these devices, these PMDs, go. But in fact, at paragraphs 19 and 21, it is explained there is a process, but of course that requires an approach to be made to DIT, and DIT may well have a view, but nevertheless there's a possibility that Council may have a view about where those devices are used. And I'm not suggesting I have a formed conclusion about that. I'm just saying that we need to exercise our minds about whether that's something we want to do. And we also want to consider the technologies available. Now, we've had one provider here tonight telling us that they can actually provide us with the technology that prevents the devices being used unless the helmet is placed on the head of the rider. Now, that technology is new to me. There may well be other technologies that we as a council might like to see provided to users of e-scooters in the city. And I also am interested, and if I could just have a moment longer, Lord Mayor. Thank you. I'm also interested in exploring the suggestion of the administration at paragraph 37 in the papers that were presented to committee, which suggested that something similar to the business operation permits and conditions could be implemented for bicycles at the same time. That is not a discussion we've had yet. So look, Lord Mayor, this is a really hot potato, e-scooters in the City of Adelaide. You either love them or hate them, but there is a case for personal mobility devices, and this is the juncture at which the city can actually determine the standard of the devices that are made available to our stakeholders. And with that, I ask members to support the motion.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Davis, would you like to speak?
I just had a question. Why wouldn't we seek to move into having a policy that actually clearly sets out what our position is on all these things?
I think that, as I understand it, the mover wished to have a report that would allow us to endorse the policy. That's my understanding.
His original motion was to develop a policy, and then I think the administration asked to change it, didn't they? Or am I wigging out?
Can I just ask the advice from the administration is the best way forward?
Through the presiding member, Mr McCready, I think your comment was it was less about a policy and more about the criteria for the issue of a permit.
That's correct. That is indeed correct.
Can I just seek clarification on behalf of Councillor Davis? Would there be a policy behind that?
We can address
going out to tender?
We can address that.
Because it's essentially a tender process, isn't it? After the report on the standards we expect. Okay.
So we can address that as it calls for a report. We'll address the need for a policy.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sure. I think the amendment's really good. Thank you, Councillor Martin, for bringing it to the chamber. Yeah, we should be clear. I think we've had a lot of feedback over the last, how long is it? 10, 15 years? I think we've been doing the trial in Adelaide, so it would be good to actually have a key set of criteria so we can actually govern how the e-scooters will be used in future. So I support Councillor Martin in bringing it to the chamber.
Could I just to complicate matters, C has the word policy in it, and the manner in which bike hire arrangements would be incorporated. That does make sense. That actually does make sense to me. Maybe I'm missing the plot here. Seems quite
Lord
reasonable.
Mayor, if I can help, it is suggested in the administration's report that the bike arrangements could be incorporated into the decision-making process related to e-scooters. I replaced the word policy with report, and that can be resolved simply by replacing the word policy with the word report.
And we will take on Councillor Davis's advice as well. So if there are no people speaking against this, Councillor Abrahimzadeh.
Really just in relation to the time frame for the report to come back to a committee or council.
Quite rightly, we have to get on with it, but there is a question of just an endorsement, yet another extension. Would we get this done within the next few months?
Through you, Lord Mayor, that would be our intention, because we want to resolve this matter and we don't want to be in a temporary situation for too long.
Thank you. So I'll put this to the vote, and all those in favour? All those against? That's carried. Thank you, members. We'll now move on to recommendation 2, which is the O'Connell Street Revitalisation Project. Councillor Giles. Was this a question I was going
to... No. Lord Mayor, I wish to move the motion in a different form.
Can I just make sure that Councillor Martin wasn't planning to move something? No. Councillor Giles, please give me your motion.
Yeah, I'd like to move that to replace the word endorses and say that at the beginning of the sentence that this motion be deferred and referred back to the Infrastructure and Public Works Committee in order for details of the consultation to be examined by council members. I think they will delete current number 1.
That's jolly hard to read, Inspector. Yes, we just need to tidy this up. Can you just sit down for a moment, Councillor Giles, while we get the CEO to tidy this into the right format?
So the alternate motion moved is that council defer the item. And refer it back to a future meeting of the Infrastructure Public Works Committee. I'll seek some advice through the presiding member.
I could say next. I'd be happy with next.
I think we've made a landing.
Is that dual?
And it was seconded by Councillor Snape.
Through the presiding member, Mr McCready is suggesting that it would be the October cycle to the October meeting of the Infrastructure Public Works.
Okie dokie, Councillor Giles.
To enable details of the... to enable. Yep.
So we will retain part 2 because we've already started work, that's happening. And 3 we can leave as is because that still remains true. So are we happy with that?
No, thank you for your help. The purpose of me moving this is because as a council member, I'm actually quite dissatisfied with the amount of information that we have received around the consultation process, and was quite surprised that this came back to us with the recommendation following the motion that we all passed on the 26th of November 2024, where certain options were put to us. On the report of the administration, the administration talked about they actually engaged URPS to do some consultation following the decisions we made in November 2024. And in that report, it refers to further discussions happening during the consultation of the paving on Connell Street. And the only detail really that's in the papers is that it was expressed that several businesses raised concerns about the bike lane, and that the issue of the bike lanes was raised in the consultation. Now, look, we've been having some recent arguments about what is good consultation in this chamber. It's a very interesting contrast to our absolute thorough examination of the consultation in relation to Hutt Street, and where we have now got an absolute detailed picture of what percentage is of people have commented from the business community, from people who live in the southeast, from businesses in the southeast, and it's all outlined in immense detail in the report that we've received back here to Council. Yet none of this detail exists in relation to this matter. All I'm asking is that we put it back to the committee so that we can actually examine that detail, because it's clearly, and also from the deputations tonight, a surprise to many people that a proposal that was put out was actually quickly changed on the basis of consultation, and clearly not everyone believes that they were involved in that consultation around the change. And also, I don't believe that a broader community of people who use O'Connell Street for transport, and also a part of that of the North Adelaide community who are engaged in active transport every day, believe that they may have had the opportunity to be part of that consultation because of the way that it was carried out. So all I want to do is have a proper report back to our committee so that we can actually make a decision on the basis of public consultation in the same way that we have in relation to Hutt Street.
Thank you, Councillor Snape. Would you like? Would anyone like to speak against Councillor Kouros?
I'll speak to this, which is about the deferral of this item, and I think what has been very clear is that we are taking on the recommendation from administration. So we are listening to what administration are telling us, and they're telling us to get on with it. And they're telling us they've heard from the community. They're telling us that the consultation that they had presented, which were for the pavers, ended up being a completely different type of consultation. So if we're saying that we don't believe that this is the words used, don't believe, then we're saying that we don't believe what the recommendation and what administration are putting forward to us. And I think that that's not really fair, because I think in this circumstance the administration have done the work, and if you were there at the community meetings, if you were there at the consultations, you would have seen how many people came in and actually did give their feedback and actually did tell the administration what they would like to see on their street. The community is the community that I was elected for. The community that I was elected for was a North Adelaide community, and I represent them, and I represent the people, the residents and the businesses. And I know what they want, and I know what they're looking for, and they want to get on with it. They want to move forward. They do not want to have the concept plans that was presented to us. They want to be able to look at it holistically in another way in regards to bikeways using adjoining streets, and they want to move forward for something they've been waiting for a very long time. And this is the other thing, Lord Mayor. Lord Mayor, people keep telling me, why does council take so long to make decisions and move on with it? And this is the very reason why, because we're not listening to administration. We're not listening to what they're saying to us. We're not listening to what our community is telling us. And that is what we were elected to do, and that's what I will continue to do. And we can sit here and say that the consultation wasn't good enough, and I can say the consultations, in all due respect, aren't going out wide enough within the boundaries that we set. It was a very small detail, a very small section on North Adelaide. I've got the map to where they were given in regards to consulting on the pavers. However, words spread like wildfire throughout the whole of North Adelaide, and we even had people that were outside of the receiving this pamphlet on the consultation coming forward and representing their views to the people that held the consultation. So I think that if other ward councillors, and I know Councillor Giles is an area councillor, and I haven't seen her spend much time in North Adelaide, but if she would like, I'm quite happy for her to introduce to her the community. And get my hair done, great! Then you would know completely what your hairdresser would be saying, because I know what they feel. And I think that we need to listen to what they're saying. We need to take on board, and we need to listen to
Councillor, can I just interrupt to ask if you're foreshadowing that should this motion be lost, you will move the original?
Yes, absolutely, Lord Mayor.
Just checking. Thank you.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. And I actually partially agree with Councillor Couros, not the attack on Councillor Giles, but I actually do agree that we're not listening to the consultation. We're not listening to the residents because we've not done the consultation properly. We've not given the adequate style of consultation for this particular change. We went out to talk about pavers. So I agree with Councillor Couros. We do need to go out and have more adequate consultation. And that's exactly what Councillor Giles is advocating for with this deferral. It's that its starting point is that we actually see the initial consultation and then take it from there. I want to see this progress as soon as possible. We've got 5 Main Street upgrades in a row happening. A very big, bold statement from this council, and it's a wonderful thing to see progressing. But I don't want to go too far off topic, but it is connected, and that is we have seen the overwhelming. Well, I'll start by saying I believe that everyone in this room, in the gallery and in this chamber, wants to do the best thing for O'Connell Street. We want to see O'Connell Street thrive. I believe that from the bottom of my heart. I genuinely do. But we have seen the science is in that having active transport options, having better pedestrianisation, greening, etc., creating a destination in North Adelaide for O'Connell Street is the best thing to do to support businesses. I actually also want to thank Tony Grant for actually reaching out to me and having a phone conversation. I genuinely appreciated that, and I do believe there's more input to be had on this from all sides, and I do believe there is a desire for active transport options on O'Connell Street, and I think we need to take that step by actually deferring this at this point, going back, looking at the consultation and taking it from there.
Thank you. Councillor Martin.
Yes, thank you, Lord Mayor. Look, I've got to say that the arguments that are being put by business and by residents of North Adelaide against the adoption of the council plan that had included a bikeway are persuasive. They are persuasive. Unfortunately, and to Councillor Giles's point, the information which is provided to councillors is not. And I think what she's asking for is for the detail that drives the administration's recommendation to abandon the proposal that was endorsed by community consultation in 2024. Now, I have no doubt that information exists. It's been alluded to by Councillor Couros, but there is nothing in the papers which have been presented to committee or council that would substantiate that reversal. Now, I'm not suggesting for one moment that I would endorse the proposal that's at hand or oppose it, but I think it's important that our councillors are provided with the information that they require to enable them to make a decision. If they are uncertain, if they're unable to endorse it, then I think they've been denied an opportunity to participate in the full decision-making processes of council. So I will support this. I make it clear I am supporting a proposal for administration to furnish further information to Councillor Giles, noting, and this really is the nub of the matter, Lord Mayor, noting that there is no delay that is caused by this. The administration has already undertaken to go away and come back to us in March next year. That is more than 6 months from now, with yet another design. That is when it's at 70% of the design. So it is a reasonable proposition that Councillor Giles is furnished with the information that she requests within the next month, noting, and I repeat again, that there is no documentation coming to Council to approve the final design for O'Connell Street until March next year. In those circumstances, I do urge members to indulge their colleague to the extent of being provided with information to enable her to make a decision.
Councillor Davis.
Thank you. I mean, the council really has achieved nothing in the last 3 years since we were first elected. Now, the committee has made a decision. Now we want to unmake that decision. And I really ask, what is the point of paying councillors an extra $120,000 if we can't even make decisions in these committees?
Point of order, Lord Mayor. We have made many great decisions over the past 3 years.
I just simply can't speak. I always get interrupted. I just constantly get interrupted.
Being mocked in the manner in which this councillor is proceeding.
No, he's being disrespectful.
His behaviour is offensive. I would like an apology, please, Lord Mayor.
I just think it would be good if you
Can I just finish?
sit down for a moment. Can I just hear the point of order?
The point of order is the same point that is made continually. The man, as a councillor, is required to extend to his colleagues a collaborative, cooperative approach and to avoid the kind of the misbehaviour, the breach of the code that he is doing now. It is point 4 of the code. He knows it well, and then he sits there and he mocks me by putting on a voice which is offensive to me, waving his hands around like a penguin. Lord Mayor.
Is the point of order over?
I haven't finished the
Oh, he's still going.
Look,
Sorry.
Lord Mayor, frankly, I would like to move Regulation 29. Councillor Davis is constantly interrupting. He's being disorderly. He ought not be in the room.
Councillor, can I just ask, before I make a decision, if you would like to withdraw some of your comments?
I'll withdraw me making fun of Councillor Martin and his voice, and I apologise for that.
Thank you. I think that's enough. We will carry on and we will let...
Thank you.
Just try to temper your enthusiasm, because it just...
I'm very enthusiastic. I'm also very confused about the deputations that we didn't hear tonight. You know, we're meant to go back to consultation, and yet the council votes against hearing deputations on the matter. And yet we want to go back and re-examine all the consultation. And I'm extremely disappointed again that we shut them down, refused to hear our community, and then now there's the guise of going back to then consider the consultation further. I do agree, though, that the consultation process of this council is fundamentally flawed. And that's why I think we should do our own work, speak with the business owners, go out to the street, meet people, and we need to balance our own personal views and our own personal insights with the consultation, which is there to support our decision-making. In this case, the weight of the real-world discussions that I've had with people who do live on O'Connell Street or do have businesses on O'Connell Street or do actually go to O'Connell Street, they weigh quite, and the residents surrounding it, they weigh very heavily on me. And I'll be listening to those people tonight. We've really have achieved nothing in the last 3 years, but I am prepared to make a decision on this tonight. I don't think we need to send this back to March. Are we really going to send it back to March and then refuse to make a decision on this? I mean, why don't we just abrogate every future decision of this council to the next council, where hopefully something will get done in the City of Adelaide?
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Siebentred.
Lord Mayor, before I begin, I'll say it is disappointing that again we're talking about council behaviour here tonight. We dealt with it earlier on in the committee meeting. I was hoping we could have left it out there. It's really disappointing that on an issue like this, which clearly there's a lot of interest in, we're having to focus on that rather than the topic. But to me, the topic at hand is that we seem to keep constantly in this city, we love this debate about cars versus bikes. We seem to have it regularly. It pops up here about once every quarter. And from my perspective, this is not a motion about whether we're in favour of cars or bikes. It is not what it's about. If we think that's what it's about, we're missing the point. And I say this as someone who cycles through the city on my way to work a couple of times a week, someone who's been run into cars. So I understand the challenges that it faces by cyclists moving through streets. For me, this is a matter about the engineering, design and layout of the street and what future modes of transport it needs to support. For me, it's about the math. It's about the math of the street. And one of the modes of transport I'd like to see along O'Connell Street in the future is a tram. Now, tram would be a significant investment in public transport. It would be a transformative project. I heard one of the speakers mention that earlier on, and move people into and out of the city in a low-carbon way that reduces congestion. So I won't be supporting the amendment here. I will be supporting the original motion, perhaps for very different reasons that some of the other members are here, because ultimately, to me, public transport is an essential part of our transport strategy, and we need to ensure that O'Connell Street is future-ready. If we find ourselves at a point where a tram does not eventuate and is not supported into the future, I'll be one of the first to put my hands and ask that we come back to this chamber and further consider how we provide safe cycling along O'Connell Street into the future.
Thank you. And if there are no other comments, would you like to sum up, Councillor Giles?
I would. I just think that the process that's been going through in relation to this sets a really bad precedent. I do not want to hear a councillor following this debate talk about how they will not listen to administration around the consultation of Hutt Street. And we've had a really good consultation process and we've clearly got a message from the community. If we accept the process here, I want you to also accept the process in Hutt Street. I think it's really important that we engage all people in consultation, and we did that in the lead up to November 2024, but we haven't done it between 2024 and August 2025. I want to hear from everybody. I want to hear from the businesses, but I also want to hear from the people who commute to the city, who are trying to find pathways into the city to go to work, who want to go shopping on O'Connell Street without using a car or trying to find a park. I want to hear from all of those people, and I do not believe that this process did that. And all I want is to be assured that we did do that process, or if we didn't, maybe we should do a little bit more around those questions, because I don't have the information, and that's why I want that information at the next committee meeting. So it sounds like I haven't got the numbers, but I urge people to reconsider their position right now and vote for this. It's not a radical proposal. It's just a proposal that we get to see the consultation that we were told shifted a decision from November 2024 to August 2025. Why did that happen? And I want to see the detail of why that happened.
Thank you, members. I'll put that varied motion for deferral. All those in favour? All those against? That is lost. A division has been called.
Members' division has been called in relation to Councillor Giles' alternative motion. Please stand until your name has been called. Deputy Lord Mayor Councillor Martin, Councillor Snape and Councillor Giles. Thank you.
So can I just say now that Councillor Couros has foreshadowed that she will move the original motion. I don't know that we need to debate it, do we?
No, Lord Mayor, I think we've debated it enough.
Who seconded it? Councillor Davis? All those...
I did want to say that I don't accept that the process here on O'Connell Street was complete. I don't accept that consultations are the be-all and end-all of everything. And I think at the end of the day, we have to make the decision and not just trust the process and just accept the outcome of whatever it comes through. So I don't accept I don't support the Hutt Street consultation. I don't support this. This is not an ultimate fathom of truth.
Thank you. Those comments, all those in favour? All those against? That is carried. A division has been called.
Members' division has been called in relation to recommendation 2 for the O'Connell Street Main Street revitalisation. Please stand until your name is called. Councillor Couros, Councillor Davis, Councillor Stephen and Councillor Abrahimzadeh. Thank you.
Now, members, can I just point out that we had a reconvened meeting of the Infrastructure and Public Works Committee, which has therefore sent us a 7.3, which is the O'Connell Street Main Street. No, it wasn't 7.3. Can I just correct this? I thought it was the behaviour consultation. We have the wrong heading here. 7.3 is the behaviour consultation. O'Connell Street driver behaviour consultation. I apologised. And this was to receive the engagement report. It was the subject of a deputation this evening.
I have an amendment. And I'm sorry, I've been so busy that it's going to be on the fly, so I'm really sorry. I know how you don't, it gets a bit
No,
messy.
can you just help us by your wording?
I'm listening to the people that are affected by it and what they would like some support in. If we could investigate... Do we have still a quorum?
We have a quorum. Keep going.
If we could investigate... can I say it in lay terms, and then I'm sure the CEO could eloquently write this, can word this for me. To investigate ways that we can move the bike where the motorbike parking is.
Three, not a one.
If we can investigate where we can move the motorbike parking, because it sits right underneath the people that are most affected, and if administration can look at ways that we can investigate moving where the bikes park. It's not cycling bikes, it's motorbikes.
So this is motorbikes, not pedal bikes?
Not pedal bikes.
Okay.
No.
Sorry, just getting it right.
Yep.
Investigate the relocation
Yes.
of motorcycle parks, is that it? I'm sorry, I'm not really sure where we're going.
Through the presiding member, that council requests administration.
Because this is something that is within our power, correct? That we can investigate ways that we can reposition where the motorbike, the motorcycle parking
Take
is.
either to investigate. And
Parking with a K?
requests administration to investigate the recycle of relocation motorcycle parking. Is there a specific location?
Sorry?
Is there a specific location?
No, I'm bound by you to tell me where.
No, Councillor, just can you help us? Where is it?
It's
is it
right. It's on Ward Street. Sorry.
Sorry, on Ward Street.
Yeah.
On Ward Street. Next to Braum Apartments.
Relocation of motorcycle parking
Next to
currently
Braum.
on Ward Street.
Next to Braum Place Apartments.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's on the corner of.
Currently.
Sorry.
Is that okay?
Yeah, I have another one.
Is there any more?
Yes, sorry. Sorry. And could we also discuss with SAPOL about the ability to put a speed camera on O'Connell Street and some CCTV? I know that we're in discussions, but I just want to have that in the motion. Yes.
Can I just channel, would you like cameras as well?
Yes, please.
Yes, speed cameras.
Speed cameras and CCTV cameras?
And you want CCTV cameras?
Shh.
Do you think we've covered it?
I think we have.
Okay.
Have we covered it?
Do we have a seconder? Councillor Davis?
I'm just taking, can I speak to it? Just very quickly, Lord Mayor, I'm hoping that this would get support to help the community that is mostly affected by what is happening on the street there. Changing speed limits is not going to change what the behaviour is at the moment. There needs to be more accountability, and also increasing parking inspectors there on a Friday and Saturday night would also be helpful. I'm hoping that we can, administration would just take that something wrong?
I don't know. We're just trying to edit it into elegant English.
Okay.
And for CCT, can we put FOR after the end? I'm sorry, just
That's
trying to
right.
make
and
it...
I'm just hoping that administration will take on the deputation in which there are not that many parking inspectors out on a Friday, Saturday night. I don't know what the rotation is. I'm not going to go into that sort of detail. I leave that with you. But it is impacting the residents there, and we do want, and that's what we do want, is a safer community for everyone to live in.
So I think this is all quite clear. Do we need anybody to speak against it, or can we just put it to the vote? Councillor Martin.
Lord Mayor, may I also ask, and the administration may be able to help with an undertaking, and I endorse what's being proposed. I think it's very sensible to suggest moving the motorbike parking space. The CCTV cameras are already provided for in the administration's report, 2 of them as part of the O'Connell Street revitalisation, so we're merely emphasising that. And additionally, the problem for SAPOL, as is mentioned in the administration's report, is that there is very little, if any, speeding on O'Connell Street, but there is vehicle noise. That is vehicles which have been adapted to emit noise levels greater than is to the comfort of residents, and possibly illegally. And I just wonder whether the administration is able to provide advice to residents in such circumstances about how we can assist with noise reduction or noise abatement measures. It's long been a concern of mine that developments in main streets and in the centre of this city fail to provide double and in some cases triple glazing when it is necessary for residents to be able to enjoy in some comfort the premises that they've purchased at great cost. We did, as a council, offer incentives and assistance in years gone by, and I think on this occasion, any assistance that we can give to residents to ensure that in those circumstances where we're unable, through our other measures, to control noise, we provide that insulation, that protection. And so I ask the administration to consider that. If it's required for me to move an amendment, I'm happy to do that, or a variation.
Kouros, would you be happy to have a clause in there that includes sound attenuation?
Absolutely.
So
Excellent.
Can we put a sound attenuation?
No, I could just put it on the end.
Put, yeah.
Just opportunity for CT. And after the vicinity, and the provision of advice to residents regarding noise attenuation.
Assistance.
Opportunities.
Assistance, whatever.
And your seconder, Councillor Davis, is happy with that. Okay, everyone's in furious agreement. I think
Then in that case, Lord Mayor, I'm happy for this to be approved.
Let's away. Let's not sum up, Councillor Crowe. We're all going to vote for it. Everyone in favour? Against? Well done. We've moved that on. Thank you very much.
Lord Mayor, I'm quite unwell, so I'll take my leave now.
Thank you. I understand you've been feeling poorly. Thank you for coming anyway. Can we move back to item 11 now, which is advice on water risk. Can I have someone move it? Councillor Stephen, moved by Councillor Stephen, seconded by Deputy Lord Mayor. All those in favour? All those against? That's carried. Thank you, members. Can we have item 12, which is city finance? Councillor Stephen, would you like to move these on block?
Happy to, Lord Mayor.
Seconded by Councillor Martin. If there's no debate, all those in favour? Those against? That's carried. Thank you, members. We'll move on to 13, which we've already taken on. We've dealt with that. Moving to 14, Capital Works Martin, Deputy Lord Mayor.
Yes, I'm happy to move that.
Move the recommendation, seconded by Councillor Abraham today.
Sure.
Thank you. All those in favour? All those against? That's carried. Thank you, members. 15, I will speak briefly on my report. During the past fortnight, we've had the privilege of attending events that span... Is this an alarm? Do we have to evacuate? Okay. Keep calm. We've honoured the city's namesake in many ways, but this year Queen Adelaide's birthday was celebrated with a new cohort of young people. We found 5 Heidis, as well as the usual cohort of Adelaides. Heidi, as you would know, is a diminutive in German for the name Adelaide. She left a legacy as one of the few cities in the world named after women, and that we're very pleased that our city is named for a woman. Talking of legacies, we also welcomed 52 new citizens from 27 countries. They were teachers, engineers, doctors, nurses, students, and they bring a unique series of experiences into Adelaide. We've also had events that bring together developers and property owners to extend our Archie initiative. We brought together people this time, not just looking at shop tops, but commercial buildings, and we can tell the council that 5 properties have been occupied and 50 are in the pipeline. This month's industry event showcased the opportunities and encouraged more developers and property owners to be involved. In terms of bricks and mortar, we also had celebrations for community activities, and the Multicultural Communities Council of SA celebrated its 50th anniversary with a civic reception. The theme of connection was also used during this month's Homelessness Roundtable, where we worked with service providers to better understand how council can support those experiencing homelessness. We use that, of course, with collaboration, compassion, and essential data. And we had more experience of data usage because there was a conference this week from the Geospatial Council of Australia. They have an information day that explains how maps are not just used for getting from A to B, but also used to plan infrastructure, can be used with blockchain to record sales of land, and can be used to bring more trust into the economy in terms of infrastructure. I also attended the gala dinner for the 30th anniversary of the Native Title organisation, the South Australian Native Title organisation. It was a privilege to stand with so many people who have made a difference over many years. I cannot fail to recognise we have won an award. The Stormwater Essay Excellence Awards were provided to the Council for the Rymel Lake redevelopment. It was one of the top honours in their awards, and I should congratulate the staff, the designers, and everyone involved in this project. It's also worth noting we've had Design Week this week, and I know that many staff members have attended events, which I have as well, and it was exciting to see young designers and developers involved in sustainability, resilience and creativity. Just the sorts of skills that made our stormwater project award-winning, because however ordinary the lake looks, it actually is an extraordinary piece of engineering and a great innovation for our city. So if someone could please move Councillor Abraham today, seconded by Councillor Snape. Receipt of my comments. All those in favour? All those against? That carried. Reports from councillors. Councillor Snape.
Politely told to use this microphone as my own one wasn't working. With your indulgence, Lord Mayor, I'd like to briefly use my phone as I've got some notes on it from an event. Last Monday, the 18th of August, I had the great honour of representing yourself, Lord Mayor, and the City of Adelaide at the Vietnam Veterans Day Memorial at the Torrens Parade Ground, marking the anniversary of the Battle of Long Tan and over 52 years since Australia withdrew from Vietnam. It was a poignant ceremony of remembrance and reflection on the impact of war on veteran civilians and their families. After laying a wreath on behalf of the City of Adelaide, I was invited to lay a red rose in remembrance of one of the 18 Australians killed in the Battle of Long Tan, all of whom were aged between 19 and 22. I placed a rose dedicated to the memory of Private Douglas Salverton, aged 21, and I really appreciate the honour of doing that, Lord Mayor. On a different note, today I was very fortunate to be a scrutineer in the count for the Central Ward by-election, and I'd just like to acknowledge and congratulate former Councillor Carmel Noon, who has been provisionally elected, and also acknowledge the presence in the gallery of candidates Eleanor Freeman and Patrick Marr, who, as the vote ended today, which will continue tomorrow, sit at Patrick in second place and Eleanor Freeman in fourth place. Counting resumes tomorrow.
Thank you. Any other
Lord Mayor, just to briefly talk about something that is predominantly beyond this chamber, but I thought it's worthwhile. It is on, yes. Yeah. But I thought it's worthwhile, given that local government will have some participation in this, and that is that on the 14th of August, Natasha Stott-Despoja, who is the Royal Commissioner for the Royal Commission into Family, Domestic and Sexual Violence, handed down her report and some 136 recommendations to the Governor. I will disclose that I was part of the advisory committee to that Royal Commission, but out of that 136 recommendations, recommendation 127 focuses on the role that local government plays in running primary prevention campaigns. I know that the City of Adelaide, whether it's this council or the former term, has done a fair bit in that space. And I think we've been a leader when you look at the South Australian councils. With hopefully with the state government making some more, I guess, comments and commitments to that report and recommendations, we'll be able to play our part in reducing and preventing family and domestic violence.
Just to assist councillors, perhaps we could have it distributed. Thank you. Or maybe electronically, or maybe just perhaps, and the recommendations. Okie dokie. Can we move receipt of those comment notes from councillors? All those in favour and those against? That's carried. Thank you. Sorry. I'm sorry. Oh yes, a mover. So that was moved by Councillor Abrahimzadeh, seconded by Councillor Martin. 17 is motions on notice. We have none. Motions without notice, none. Questions without on notice, none. Questions without notice, none. I think now we'll move on to exclusion of the public because we have some confidential items. Could I ask someone to move agenda item 21 is exclusion? Moved by Councillor Giles, seconded by Councillor Abrahimzadeh. All those in favour? All those against? Thank you, members. That was for 22.1. Can we just move 22.2 as well? Moved by Councillor Abrahimzadeh, seconded by Councillor Martin. All those in favour? Against? Thank you. And then 22.3 also. I'm sorry, we have to do them separately. Moved by Councillor Siebentritt, seconded by Councillor Abrahimzadeh. All those in favour? Those against, that's carried. We've cleared the gallery.